Open borders, shameful abandonment, disregard. Open borders, shameful abandonment, disregard for human life, the prospect of more mandates and lockdowns, and the list goes on. Now more than ever, we need to stick together. Voting alone is not enough. We must use our dollars to support like-minded companies that fight for our rights and beliefs. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian.
This is Kentucky's Voice Radio, covering the latest state and local issues with Tom Fallbush, Bob Scott, and Jim Waters.
Good morning. Welcome to Kentucky's Voice. I am Debbie Robbins, and I am so happy to be with you today, and especially with my two amazing co-hosts, Mr. Tom Fallbush and Bob Scott. We want to wish everybody a happy spring today. Today's the first day of spring. I am so excited about that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Yeah. And it reminds me of my favorite scripture verse, Lamentations 3:23, saying that God's mercies are new every morning. And I'm so glad about that because today's a new day, a fresh day. I'm glad that you all are with us as well, our radio listeners on 970 and those later on when we see you on WBNA, or if you check us out on Facebook at our Kentucky's Voice Facebook page or YouTube. Check us out because we sure would love to have you. And today we've got a great show planned for you. We want to cover a couple of things that are going on in the national and international news. But today is going to be a really great day to talk about local politics, what's going on right now, because spring is here, which means that every single Metro Council race, every single primary race across the United States of America for people who want to hold public office and get your trust, and those that we want to make decisions for us, are all on the ballots right now, and they're out there starting their campaigns and their walking campaigns. And the two people we have today, you're really going to enjoy getting to know them, and especially if they're in your district, you're going to really want to support them because these are two outstanding individuals. I can remember, Tom, when I was 18 and in my first year of college, and I didn't really know what really being a Democrat or Republican was. All I knew, I was raised in Kentucky, and I thought,
new to the world when they're young. Yeah, so you got to learn this stuff, and sometimes you learn it the hard way.
Yeah.
Because you have a good line I like to use a lot. It's like, you may not care about politics, but politics cares about you.
Absolutely.
And you'll find that out really soon as you just live your life. And so. And really, local politics are more important than anything else because that's that you're closer to that than any other layer of politics. And so, so who your mayor is, who your Metro Council person is, who the school board member is, is very important to your life. And so, but the problem is people don't have an easy way to really keep up with that, that's because, the national politics is pretty easy. You got all these national outlets that and everybody's interested in it. And so, but who really covers what's going on in the Metro Council, except for maybe some local newscast? But no one covers it from a conservative perspective. Right. And so that's one reason why we're here. We're here to shine a light on local and state politics from a conservative perspective. And we're just very fortunate to have some candidates who are conservative, who are running for local office, that we want to highlight today.
And we want you in the conversation.
Yeah.
We want you to jump in with us at 502-571-0970. Please text us. And Tom, I don't know about you, but like I said, when I was 18, I was so thankful for my student government president who sat me down and said, Debbie, we're Christians, but he showed me the difference between a Democrat platform and a Republican platform and helped me realize what it was that I aligned with. But it's so important, like you said, on the local level, that we find the right people from the beginning, because then they want to go off and run for governor, or they want to run for Congress or some other office.
Exactly right. Yeah, and actually, right now in Jefferson County, in Louisville, and our metro, because we're a statewide news organization, but we're broadcasting from Louisville, from Jefferson County, so it's our home base. But right now in this area, we are 3 seats away in the Metro Council from flipping it to being a Republican or it's a nonpartisan race,
right?
But to a conservative majority, right? Which is very, very rare in blue cities. All right. So Louisville has an opportunity to just change our future in positive ways.
Absolutely.
And we can do it this election cycle. So we'll be right back with a couple candidates that can do that. So, and
remember, call us or text us at 502-571-0970. We want you to participate with us today. Thank you all so much.
And we'll have Bob Scott back with us too. So
we'll be back.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
all right, welcome back to okay.
Welcome back to
Go,
Tom.
That's right. Well, there we go. Let's stay on her. She's better looking than I am. So I'll tell you what. We've got a really cool guest right now, and as we mentioned in the last segment, we are 3 seats away from flipping the Metro Council in Louisville to a conservative majority. Right? You can't necessarily say Republican or Democrat majority, because these are nonpartisan seats, right?
Right.
And so, but people have worldviews and have political instincts, and so we know who's who. And right now, it is a majority liberal, more left wing body. But Louisville has a chance to flip that, and so we want to introduce one of our Metro Council candidates. And Debbie, would you like to do that?
I would love to. This young lady, I call her a young lady, this young woman, she's an amazing person. And I've gotten to know her for the past couple of months through Republican events. Her name is Nancy Lynn Walters, and she lives in the Anchorage area. So she's going to be representing Metro District 17. That is her desire. Now, with it being a nonpartisan race, you will not see any party affiliation. So I want you to memorize Nancy Lynn Walters. She is amazing. Anybody that goes to decide to run for office, they're given their time, talent, and treasure, and she truly has it, and she has a great heart, common sense. So, Nancy, thanks for coming, and tell everybody about yourself more than I just did, and give us your platform. I know you have 3 main points you want to talk about.
Well, thank you all so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to share all my thoughts and ideas and really the vision for the Louisville. So a little bit about me. I'm a Louisville native. I'm from here, went to Ballard High School, graduated from Indiana University with a degree in journalism and environmental science. I work for a biotech company now in the neuroscience division in sales, and I currently serve on the Anchorage Independent School Board. So I have kind of stepped my, a little bit of toes into what it's like to be in the government level and manage budgets and different kinds of things. So what I found is that I really enjoy it. And I really have enjoyed representing people and negotiating tough situations. And as I kind of started to look at my own life, and I have 2 daughters that are getting ready to go to college, and one that's actually leaving in August, which means the clock starts ticking into that 4-year time frame when they're going to make a decision about where they're going to live. And I started thinking to myself, I really want my daughters to choose Louisville because there's going to be a whole host of options and places where they're going to want to, look at. And I want them to come back to Louisville, one, because it's safe, a really safe place to live. Second, because our infrastructure is outstanding. And third, because there's wonderful, innovative jobs for them to come home to. And right now, those three areas, we have a long way to go. And so I looked at what the timeline is for a Metro Council member, and that's 4 years.
Yes.
And I look at the timeline that I have to attract my daughter to come back here and choose this at home. That's also 4 years. So I thought this is a great time for me to get involved, to really try to make a difference in these areas. And when I was doing some research, if you Google, what are the crime rates in Louisville? And I was really surprised to see that just what pops up in Google is that our crime rates outpace that of the nation. And I'm sorry, that's just unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. So that's why when anybody asks me, what are you running for? Why? That's the first thing that comes out of my mouth, because before you can have companies that are choosing to come here, before you can really focus on infrastructure, you have to have that bare basic element of safety and people feeling comfortable and feeling protected in their city.
Let me add what you're saying. Just this weekend, I was just flipping around through YouTube, and I found a local realtor who does a YouTube channel that tries to encourage people to use her to, when they're moving to Louisville. But Mr. Producer, will you put up this my screenshot here? This is the title of her video, and I want you to see this: "The Truth About Louisville: Why People Are Leaving Louisville, Kentucky in 2026, and why you still might move." And she's trying to say that, hey, people might recognize that crime is up in Louisville, but you still can maybe move here, and please call me if you want to. But this video is just very sad to watch, because she's a native Louisvillian like us, and she just says, here's all these things, crime's up, and here's one thing. She's funny. She goes, if you want to know where to move in Louisville, go to the city's crime map and look at the crime map first before you buy your house. That's tragic. That's tragic to have to tell people that about our city, but just wanted to emphasize.
Well, no, and it's true. And the thing is, it's not just violent crime, it's property crime. Yeah. And the way I look at it, crime is crime, right? It all makes you feel unsafe. Yeah. So if you're living in an area, well, no, we don't have a lot of violent crime here. Well, check your property crime rates, because all of it is going to make a difference in when somebody chooses to move here, where they're going to live, how long they're going to stay here. Right. And, so that's really one of that's the main reason I wanted to run. And it's all kind of centered around my children.
What can we do? All right. So
yes,
crime. Okay. So we all know the crime. So what can a Metro Council do? What can a mayor do? I've got ideas. What are your ideas?
Well, I think one of the first things that I like to take a look at, a couple things. One, I think you have to assess the situation before you start in and dive in with any ideas. And of course, I would love to meet with LMPD and all of anybody that has anything to do with law enforcement, just to get an overall assessment. But I do know that we have so much room to grow in terms of adding LMPD officers right now. I think we can still hold 300 more. We lost so many several years ago.
That's right.
We have never gained that back. That needs to be priority number one. Our officers need to feel like they're supported and completely backed. And that's going to make a big difference. Also, I would love to see us bring back and have a juvenile detention center, because right now, if you are under 18 and something happens and you've committed a crime, we have to have an officer take you to a county that's several hours away. And that not only is taking an officer off the street, but it's taking, our juveniles out of our own county where they can be, managed and looked after. So that's just a couple of things. And there's so many. There's not one thing you can point to fix a large problem, but you kind of tick away at the smaller ones.
I'm going to bring Bob Scott back onto this. And, Bob, a lot of this is just kind of worldview issues too. It's like, the left has a certain, utopian view of human nature. And so they kind of approach crime and this, with a very over empathetic view of the criminal, and that sort of translates into every sort of policy that affects law enforcement, and so part of it is just having people that don't have that sort of tainted worldview, sitting in seats of power, and so wouldn't you agree with that, Bob? And I've lost his audio. Can Mr. Producer?
It is a cascading effect, Tom. It's so many things play into this, and if you have essentially where For example, you were talking about the crime rate being so poor in this country, and our guest is absolutely 1,000% correct. Believe me, when companies are looking for places to come to or go to, that's one of the first things they're going to check out.
Yep.
You know,
Exactly.
if it offers a friendly environment, and on top of that, that's going to make all of our insurance rates go up. If we are seeing in our area lots of crime, guess what? The insurance company is going to pass that cost along to the folks that live in that area. It's just it's a matter of fact, you know. So she is absolutely right on the money, and I have several friends that are police officers that have left LMPD out of disgust, you know, for what's going on, and gone out to higher paying areas and you know, close to Louisville, but places where they're going to be treated better. So again, right on the money on everything that's been shared.
Yeah. Right. And I agree wholeheartedly with everything that's already been said. And I know, Nancy Lynn, there are going to be a lot of issues you all face as Metro Council members. And one that I know that's near and dear to your heart and mine, and Jim Waters, one of our other hosts, is education. I know you all can't do much about the superintendent or the board, but how would you use your position to influence better education? Because people want safety and they want to know their kids are going to go to education.
Yeah, so that's a tough one. So Metro Council, they don't have a whole lot to do with the JCPS system, but certainly you can build partnerships and you can have relationships, right? And so that's what I would offer. And then also having just my background working with the Anchorage Independent School District, now I've got a pretty good perspective on what good looks like and what great looks like, and that area of opportunity where JCPS is. So, you know, we as a Metro Council don't have a whole lot there, but we can certainly partner in ways, you know, for example, like maybe it's something having to do with a group that would want to, you know, work with like a budding trade organization, or, you know, some kind of co-op or whatnot. I mean, that can help be facilitated. But in terms of like, you know, basics of education and holding standards, like that's out of the realm of Metro Council. But certainly partnerships and figuring out ways that you can work together, I'm up for, absolutely.
Well, and I want to know if you're willing to use your voice as a Metro Councilman. You may not have the power, but your voice is going to be powerful. So if things come up in the news and people need your voice and your opinion, are you willing to do that for our children? Absolutely.
And certainly with my background of being as an Anchorage Independent School Board member, I bring a really unique perspective in that I do understand that area. And then, you know, with an opportunity to be on Metro Council as well, it kind of brings them together. So I think that my voice would carry a little bit of weight because I've been in those shoes of being on a school board.
And can you drive a school bus? That's the key.
I don't have a commercial driver's license, but I'd be up for it.
Well, because we need some help there for sure. But well, Nancy, thank you. Can you stay another second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And you know, how do we prevent this urban doom loop that all these blue cities like Louisville are going through? How do we prevent that? Right? We prevent it by doing what we're doing here, voting for people like Nancy and our next guest here shortly as well. We can flip the council to a conservative council. That is awesome. We'll be right back here on Kentucky's Voice.
Are you ready to stand for truth? Kentucky is at a crossroads, and we need voices that won't back down. This is your moment to rise, speak up, and be part of a movement that's changing the narrative in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's Voice is calling on bold citizen journalists, fearless editors, and those unafraid to speak truth in the public square. Volunteer, intern, contribute. Scan the QR code or visit kyvoice.org to join the fight. This is more than media. This is your moment. You are Kentucky's voice.
Back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
All right, welcome back to Kentucky's Voice, and let me put my earpiece back in. And we've got a really cool show today. As we're talking about Metro Council, right? Louisville has a Metro Council, which is sort of like the Congress for the city, because a lot of people don't know how local politics is sort of set up, right? So you've got a mayor, which is sort of like the president, right? Then you've got the Metro Council, which is sort of like Congress, right? And they have to work together to pass laws and initiatives and that sort of thing. So right now, our Metro Council has a majority, more, I would say, left-wing liberal majority, right? That's kind of typical for a large urban area in Kentucky. And so,
well, let me throw in real quick, Tom, even though it's allegedly apolitical, there are 13 Democrats right now, that identify as Democrat.
Yeah, right. The registered Democrats. There we go.
12 Republicans and 1 independent. So, folks, this is a chance to take Louisville back and get Louisville on the right path. And I'll say it's been because of the liberal leadership, and boy, it's even hard to use those same words together in one sentence. But it's been because of that that we now find ourselves, in the mess that we're in, and we have an opportunity to get that turned around.
Exactly
we sure
right.
do.
And so, we're going to bring Nancy back in, and Nancy Lynn Walker, who's running for Metro Council. And what is the district or seat?
District 17. So that's
17.
like the Anchorage, Springhurst, and a little bitty slice of
Okay.
Middletown as
so
well.
far eastern Jefferson County. And so, we talked about, of course, crime is an issue. We need to address crime, education the best we can. And then, but business is an important issue in this city as well. So, that's close to your heart. So, what could we do to improve business conditions? Because listen, businesses are leaving cities like Louisville. Taxes and crime and just new businesses starting up. I mean, come on.
Right. They're not just leaving, but they're not coming here, and that's what's frightening, because eventually that balance goes in such a way that you find yourself, in a pickle, so to speak. And we're at that point right now. So if you are in Louisville and you want to start a business and or bring a new business or create something new, it is very complicated to get all of the different certifications and the permits and all the things you need to do. And so what ends up happening is people say, well, I'm going to go somewhere else where it's a lot easier. And guess where it's a lot easier? And that is Jeffersonville.
Yeah.
And actually, I've got this story that it's an international spirits company that moved their distribution center from Louisville to Jeffersonville because it was so complicated and expensive for them to keep the distribution center here that they just, because over in Jeffersonville, it was like just a concierge. They just took them from place to place to place. Made it so
amazing.
Easy for them.
It's somebody that I have some business and some properties in Jeffersonville, and the local government. They're amazing over there. So the mayor over there, he's a Republican for one, and he's a great guy. And the whole staff there, they're just really willing to help you. They want to get behind your business and support it. And it's so weird. It's like government really on my side. It's amazing.
It's
and
very.
So we could have that here.
We have to streamline the pathways for economic development. I say that very emphatically: safety, and then streamlining the pathways for economic development. I never thought that I would say a city, and I love Kentuckiana, and I think Jeffersonville is great. I'm a graduate of Indiana University.
Kentucky,
but I never thought I would see Jeffersonville outpacing Louisville in terms of bringing new business and infrastructure, and that's what's happening. So we've got to stay competitive. So streamlining the pathways for economic development is going to be very important. We are at a pivotal point right now in time with Louisville.
So what sort of red tape would you cut? What specifically? Do you have any ideas on some specifics that you could?
It's really just bringing everything all under one roof together. You need this certain certification. You need this inspection. You need this permit. You need that permit. It all needs to be in one place, managed with one entity, not this person, that person, and this person shows up 2 weeks later, and I didn't realize I needed that permit, and oh no, this is happening now.
And go to a hearing to get your permit and all this kind of craziness.
It needs to be one-stop shop, super easy, because that's what the competition has. The competition has just concierge service. So if we don't have concierge service, guess what happens? It's competition. They go somewhere else.
That's right.
So
I love that. And I attended a planning and zoning meeting last year. And as a neighbor where I live, we were trying to preserve our nature area, the Black Acre area. Planning and zoning were trying to make it where they could build a Publix grocery store right next door to Kroger.
Oh, yeah.
And really mess up that beautiful area. It just, it's unsafe because of the roads. The roads have been there since the Civil War or prior. They're not big enough for big trucks to be driving through. And, we presented to them and we said, we do not want this here. And we challenged them and said, go into empty buildings and make those into your business. And you know what? They did listen. They're actually opening a Publix in a former Walmart, super big Walmart store. So I think it's a lot of things, not only to make new business easy, but also to help people financially. I don't even know what the right way to say it, but where they could come in and all of these empty buildings that we have, Nancy Lynn, now because of COVID, it would be awesome to be able to fill those and just I love it. Put it all one-stop shopping, like you said. So as our next Metro Councilwoman from District 17, Nancy Lynn Walters, I hope that will be your very first bill that you work on to get through with your other colleagues. I think that would be amazing.
So zoning issue. Zoning issue is very complicated topic because there's a lot of areas in town that are just overgrown and like the Fern Creek area has just been destroyed with all the development out there, and whoever and one reason why people in Fern Creek and some of the former county areas in the district before merger are considering breaking away from the city because we feel like we're not getting the the attention we could get, and they're just all they want is our tax money. They just want to and
that leads into one of our texters, Tom. They literally just sent us this. Says, I left because of rising taxes, hidden taxes with the MSD and the water company, so and that's just it too. They bury a lot of things in taxes and if we just look at really, we were talking about a second ago who we've lost. And did you ever think KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken would relocate to Texas?
Yeah,
that's where the U.S.
from the Colonel's hometown. This is his hometown, basically.
Right.
I mean,
yes.
Papa John's.
Brown Foreman. Well, Papa John's still has a little bit of a footprint, but it's very minor. But you're talking about Humana. Look what's happened to the Humana building downtown.
Right.
They're now talking about, we'll see if this ever happens, turning it into some kind of convention center, hotel.
Yeah.
LG&E, Fifth Third Bank. These are all major corporate players that bring millions of dollars into our economy.
That's right.
And they're absolutely causing our economy here in the Louisville area, Louisville market specifically, to collapse.
But we got about 2 minutes left. Nancy, your thoughts on that? Just all the major, just echoing
it should
what you said
never have
earlier.
happened. It should never have happened. And I know part of that is on a state level, but as a local level, we need to be maximizing every resource, certainly to keep our namesakes like Kentucky Fried Chicken here, right? Yeah. But it broke my heart when I know the spirits, and nobody wants to bourbon is Kentucky. That's one of our flagships.
That's right.
And to see an international spirits company with, the bourbon names that everybody would recognize move over to Jeffersonville, literally go astray.
There's no Hoosier bourbon. Come on.
That should never. It's a distribution center, but still, it should never happen. All these hometown icons and things that we call our own, we need at a local level, need to be maximizing every resource, working with our governor, working with state government, doing everything we can with partnerships to keep them here. And then going out, thinking about the future and bringing in the most innovative people for our next generation to then latch onto for their careers.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got to say this real quick.
So our kids will stay. Go ahead, Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. If people don't go out and vote for Nancy, you need to have your head examined because this is the breath of fresh air that is sorely needed.
That's right.
In the Louisville area. We've got to get people like her elected. Bright, intelligent, that understands what's going on, and more importantly, what can be done about it.
And a mom,
right?
Too, and
May we put up her graphic, producer Dan, and show everybody? This is Nancy Lynn Walters, Metro Council 17. Nancy, what do you want to say before we go out this segment?
Well, the most important thing is get out and vote. We have a primary coming up, and it is amazing to me how many people do not vote in the primary. Your voice matters. So there it is, Tuesday, May 19th. Please get out and vote.
Do you have a challenger?
I have two challengers.
In the primary. Okay.
So it's really important.
Okay.
Vote for me. I really appreciate it, and I promise you, those three things you see on the screen with public safety, infrastructure, and economic growth, I'll work really hard.
Boom. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
Okay, welcome back to the program, and we've so Lonnie, you can't hear anything yet. Okay, well, don't worry about it. You can hear us, so that's fine. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties with our guest, but he can hear us, so we are fine. So I'm your host today, Tom Fallbush, with Debbie Robbins, and we have, of course, Bob Scott and on the interwebs with us, and we have Lonnie Joseph, who we've had before, and but you're back, and thank you for being back. Council, you're running for Metro Council and District, or they call it district. What do they call that?
District 21.
District 21. Okay, and so like our last guest, you are more of a conservative. You're, I guess, registered Republican, I would assume.
Yes.
But of course, the Metro Council seats, as we said before, are nonpartisan races. So when you go to vote, you won't see the Democrat and the Republican choices there. You're just going to see a bunch of names, and so you're going to have to know these names. And it's important to know Lonnie Joseph. It's important to know Nancy Lynn Walker if you're in those districts. So where is Council 21 again?
District 21 runs Southern Parkway, Iroquois Park, all the way out to Auburndale. It cuts back down Southside Drive, Crittenden Drive. It goes out to the Ford plant, all the way out Fern Valley Road. It actually touches Old Ship, and then it cuts over and includes areas like Prestonia, Linview, and the Poplar Level Road area.
Is this your area too? Because we're close to Fern Valley?
I think it is. It runs out, like I said, all the way out.
Wonderful.
The biggest part of my area is the airport,
right?
Muhammad Ali Airport, the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center, and the Ford plant.
Lonnie, I love having both you and Nancy Lynn here today because you both represent two vastly different parts of our county. But the people that make up those areas make this city work. And so for you, what is your number one issue that you want people to remember to drive them to the polls to vote for you on May 19th?
Again, as Nancy Lynn stated, it's safety. To give you an example, like she said, when you Google Louisville, one of the first things you see is crime.
Yeah.
So if you have a business and you're thinking about relocating, if you Google that, that would not be very attractive for you to say, I want to move my business to Louisville. Second, your employees. You have to worry about the safety of your employees. And as I've worked in manufacturing all my life, and if I don't feel safe working at a factory or a business, I may not want to work there. So that's the biggest thing. And that when you fly into Louisville or you come to the state fair, you want to feel safe. And that's a major issue here in Louisville. And I am on the advisory board for the 4th Division Police Department, and I'm also the president of that advisory board. So I work directly hand in hand with, feeding them information, the quality and concerns of life that my constituents have, and can see that on a daily basis. I've done a ride along with the police department and really got to see what they go through and what an officer has to deal with on a daily basis. Stress for an officer is very big. I know we had a couple of exciting events when I was on my ride along, and it was stressful for me. So.
Well, my question is, because I'm always learning about the Metro Council and what your duties are with safety, with the police department. I know the mayor gets to choose the police chief, but do you all have any input on that? Let's say if that job came open, or as Nancy Lynn mentioned, that we need at least 300 more officers. In the budget, I know you all would be wise, because you're conservative thinkers, on cutting fat, but finding that money. So you all can do that. You all can decide and make that a big deal and say, we want 300 more officers on the road.
Yeah, we need to work with the police chief, the mayor, the board, and come up with very good ways to make this happen. I think one of the issues is we need to let the police officers do their job. The courts need to do their job. We just recently had someone that I think had a 65-year term prison sentence, and it was reduced to 30 years. That as a police officer, I've been told, makes them feel horrible, because they're out there doing their job. And then that's what they see, the eventual outcome come of that. So they get really disgruntled. But the Metro Council needs to work with even their constituents to bring everybody together and to solve this problem. And the only way we're going to do that is to working together. That old saying, it takes a village, it really does.
Yes. Now, how do you plan as a Metro Councilman, and I'm sure Nancy Lynn, you're all thinking, how do you plan on letting people know that you're out here and you're listening? And I hope that they text in right now, even 5710970, and ask questions. How are you going to keep in touch with constituents and let them know what's going on? It just seems like we all live our day-to-day lives, and we don't realize there are a lot of cogs in the wheel that keep us going. And you all are those cogs. So how are you going to make it known? How are you going to be loud?
Well, one thing we're doing right now is we're out knocking on doors, and we're talking to our constituents. And I know that I've been going to fish fries, and there are people coming in from out of the district, and I still feel for their concerns. Their concerns are the same as the ones in District 21. Safety is different in every district. We are big on social media. I know Nancy Lynn and I have been hitting social media very hard. I've got my web address, I've got my email address, I've got my phone number.
Tell it right now. Tell everybody what it is.
My web address is www.lonniejoseph.com, and that's LONNIEJOSEPH.
Good.
So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, we want to hear about it. Send them in to me, and I'll respond. I don't want to ignore anything.
Yeah. And Bob, what are you thinking where you are? Oh, maybe we. Oh, he lost audio. Okay.
Well, let me do this real quick. I wanted to pull up this map of the districts of Jefferson County. So, Mr. Producer, if you can pull this up. If you're ever curious who your Metro Council person is, this map hopefully will tell you. So, District 21 is Lonnie's district, and so you can see that right there in the sort of the middle of the county, almost like the heart of the county. You ought to call your district the heart of the city. That'd be great. It's kind
but it is the heart of Louisville. Like I said, you got the airport, the fairgrounds.
That's it. Yeah, that's right.
Car plant and stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. And then, of course, Nancy's district is 17 over here in far eastern Jefferson County, so she's like the heart of part of Eastern Jefferson County. So, so there we go. So it's good to know who your district's councilmen are, and so
and really needing to know their names, Tom, because it's a nonpartisan race, and we don't want that to be confusing to you out there. It's just what we're saying now is that our Kentucky State Legislature voted in a couple of years ago, or maybe last year, that our mayoral race in Louisville and our Metro Council and our judges, which has always been that way, are what we're calling nonpartisan races. Now, that doesn't mean the candidates don't have a certain viewpoint, because they do. So our job as citizens is to get to know these candidates. That's why we're so thrilled to have Lonnie here today and Nancy Lynn, because they are two outstanding candidates that are going to represent us beautifully. Those of us that are conservative thinkers, those are that are common sense conservative thinkers, and those of us too that have a Christian worldview. We want people like Lonnie and Nancy Lynn. So memorize those names, and if you're in their district, vote for them.
You know, there's a topic that's been popular in the past few years called the urban doom loop. Urban doom loop, and let me kind of unpack that. Basically, what it means is, as these cities, major urban areas become Democrat controlled, their policies tend to do this. They allow for higher crime. They allow for higher taxes, a poor business environment. So what happens is, people decide to leave because it's unsafe. The businesses decide to leave because it's unsafe. And guess what happens? The city loses their tax base. And so then it doubles down on itself. And the only people that are left in that city are people that are usually the urban poor, who tend to vote Democrat anyway. And so then you get just a harder left-wing, political situation. Business class is gone. All the wealth is gone, and it just cycles.
And Tom, we're seeing that happen right now in New York State. That very scenario.
You're right.
New York City. New York City.
Yeah. Well, the governor's now begging for the people that she not that long ago was saying, if you don't like the way we're doing business or what's happening, then leave. Well, guess what? They took her up on that. They left. Most of them, a lot of them, went down to Florida.
Well, Bob, and that's happening in Louisville. That's happening in Louisville. But we've got a chance. We're one of the few cities in this country that we have a chance to draw a line and stop that. And the line is right here. Lonnie and Nancy across the room.
That's the thing about somebody like Lonnie and Nancy. They truly care. They're both bright. They're both intelligent. They will get out there. They'll roll up. They're going out and listen to constituents. When was the last time you've heard a politician say, I'm going to go out and listen to what the people are saying? Well, they're doing that.
Yeah.
And again, folks, if you're listening in right now, we ask you to text us at 502-571-0970. We would absolutely love to hear anything that you have to say about this very important issue and very important race that's coming up. Literally, I guess now in about a month and a half, we need you to dial in and get out and do the hard work so we can do some things to change the culture of our city and get this beautiful town of Louisville moving in the right direction.
Exactly right. Yeah. There's no reason Louisville can't revive and have a renaissance and shake off all this bad mojo that we've created for ourselves the past 10 years. Exactly. And we can do this. Louisville's come back before, and we can do it again. And so,
Lonnie, if you don't mind, what do you want to say to the voters before we sign off on this segment?
I just want to let them know that Louisville is similar to cities like Nashville, Indianapolis, but we are so far behind on our, crime rate, our growth, our businesses, our transportation, and I want to get into office and help turn that around. I know Nancy Lynn feels the same way. We need to take buildings that are empty right now and revitalize those. And we need to help with the crime rate, lower that so we can get new businesses and families back into the city of Louisville.
That's right. It can be done. Every
bit of that. And if we flip this Metro Council, it will be done.
It will be done. It will be done. So that's awesome. This and all can be done, but it's up to you. You got to know names like Lonnie Joseph when you go to vote. And first of all, you have to go vote. So make sure you vote. We'll be right back.
Kentucky's Voice is your home for real news, real people, and real answers. But we can't do it without you. Your financial support helps us bring truth to the forefront, hold leaders accountable, and give a voice to the people of the Commonwealth. Join the fight today. Give online at kyvoice.org or text KYVoice to 53555. Every gift makes a difference. Stand with us. Speak up. Stay strong. You are Kentucky's voice.
Now, back to Kentucky's Voice Radio, online at kyvoice.org.
Welcome back to Kentucky's Voice. We want to say thank you again to Lonnie Joseph and Nancy Lynn Walters for being with us today. Both of them are going to be number 3 on the ballot in their prospective districts of 17 and 21, but they're number 1 in your heart. Nancy Lynn Walters and Lonnie Joseph. And Lonnie said he is a number 3 for Metro Council. So please get out and vote May 19th. All right. Go to you, Tom.
Right. Okay, very good. I want to play this clip real quick. This is a clip of Lonnie in his younger years. And so there we go, Mr. Producer. No. Actually, there we go. No, actually, that is... we're playing that today in honor of the great Chuck Norris. That is Chuck Norris fighting Bruce Lee. That's the famous, fight they had back in the 70s, and which really brought him to fame. And Chuck Norris passed away today, so we want to.
Man,
we want to.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I want to extend our condolences to his family, and what a great man. He was a strong conservative, patriot, Christian, just a great athlete, and just a cool guy.
I was on a lot of people don't know this. I was on the Chuck Norris black belt team back in the mid 80s. That we were the first team that went to the Soviet Union. He was supposed to come on that trip, but ended up not coming.
Oh, wow.
So that took my breath away. I did not know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we.
There we go. So,
he had passed.
So if you could, just if you're listening, text us your favorite Chuck Norris movies. We will probably share that before the end of the show. But back to Lonnie Joseph. That was a great fight you had there with Chuck Norris back in the 70s. I mean, you definitely held your own.
Memories.
Yeah, there we go. But so we talked a lot about the crime issue. Obviously, Nancy mentioned her passion is business. Just trying to get business business back to Louisville. And what can be done here in Louisville? Because businesses are leaving. You know, we've lost KFC. We're losing Humana. We're losing, she mentioned several people in the distillery industry. This is not a business-friendly in town. I mean, and even starting a business, I can tell you, it is bureaucracy after bureaucracy, hoop after hoop, hearing after hearing, permit after permit, and then the people you got to get to inspect your stuff. You just kind of wonder if they're not corrupt half the time. You know, you get them some electrical inspector, and I've heard the stories. You know, just leave a $100 bill in your dash and you'll get passed. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but we shouldn't have cities that even have that kind of rumor. And so, but anyway, what are your thoughts about business?
Business and infrastructure, home building. I think Kentucky is short about 200,000 homes, whether it be single-family homes or larger. And there's just so much red tape. We need to cut that back, cut that down, and just streamline it. And like I said, we have to work with the different departments. We have to work with the governor here in Kentucky, the mayor here in Louisville. We have to work with the federal government, because some of those guidelines come from them. So we have to create task force. We need to start looking at the problem before it's a problem. We have a bad habit, and it's just human nature not to look at anything until, oh my gosh, this is happening. Yeah. Let's make a plan for the future and start on it now.
I hate to keep bringing up the elephant in the room, but I think a lot of issues in blue cities, which while we almost have the majority here in the Metro Council, that's only been in the last 2 years, but prior to that, we've been a very blue city. And I'm still concerned about illegal immigration and following through and being strong on that, allowing our police officers to work with ICE in order to remove illegal aliens from our community, which do take a lot of our jobs, a lot of our housing, sucking off of the taxpayer base of getting benefits that come from Governor Andy Beshear and on down. And unfortunately, those things affect our city. And I really want leaders in place that are going to be courageous to stand up and say, no more. And even though we've gotten a letter from the Department of Justice, from our Attorney General of the United States saying we cannot be a sanctuary city, and we've been promised that they're going to comply and they're going to work with ICE, and I think they do somewhat, but I really believe that is also a big part of the problem. So what do you think on that, Lonnie, and how will you stand if those issues come, especially if Louisvillians are killed by illegal aliens driving a car without a proper license and they can't read English, and those types of situations?
That's a interesting tidbit that you're talking about. It's hard because a lot of the things that the federal government do, the local government has to follow. And the mask mandate, for one thing. I've been to the last couple of Metro Council meetings, and it's a lot of political theater, what I call, going on. They try to pass a mask mandate. It doesn't get passed. They revisit it again. They revisit it again. We've got to come up with a way to help the federal government and in getting things done. It like I said, this is a federal issue as well as a local issue, and I will stand behind what the council decides. My fellow council members on both sides of the party.
And will you be willing to speak up?
Yeah, I'm a man of God.
Yeah.
I have my beliefs, and I won't fray from that. That's first and foremost. My wife is right up behind that. But yes, I'll stand up for what I believe in.
Very good, yeah, because a lot of cities are known as sanctuary cities, where they're ignoring the federal government and they're not cooperating. And of course, I think our mayor has. I know our mayor has not went along with that approach. He's decided to work with ICE, make sure our police is working with their request to extradite illegals that have been arrested, and so that's a good thing. And we need to just continue along that path. And listen, one reason the city of Louisville is so crowded right now is we probably have 100,000 people that probably shouldn't be here, And so if you go down to any major thoroughfare in this town, it is so overcrowded, and it's like our streets are busted up, our infrastructure is just falling apart, our bridges are wearing out, our schools are overcrowded.
Our streets are dirty.
Streets are dirty. It's just and it's a lot of it's because we have a lot of folks that are here that are not really paying into the system, that are just taking advantage of our system, and they shouldn't be here. I mean, and it might be fine people on some level, but they're illegal and they're breaking our laws, and they're not fine if you're breaking a law, and so I think that's a problem. So anyway, anything you can do to help address that problem for us locally is very much appreciated for the actual voters and the actual citizens who actually built this country and are maintaining it. And so that's what we want our politicians to defend our interests, not the interests of somebody from Guatemala, and that's, I'm sorry, that's a rant. I'm not pointing at you. I'm just talking about the general, right. A lot of politicians in this country are just,
and from our text line, Tom, that segues beautifully into this comment. People in all metro districts need to be aware of what the councilmen in all districts are doing and not doing for their districts. Metro belongs to all of us.
Right.
Right on the money. And then another one, Churchill Downs paid $500,000 to FOP Lodges of Kentucky. No, that's an older one. Let me get this one. Stop letting Churchill Downs run this city. They should be paying property taxes. Again, that's a comment, but I will add in quickly. Churchill Downs really is the face of Louisville, and a very, very, very critical part of the economic engine that helps to drive our city. I'm not saying they shouldn't be paying taxes, but I'm just saying they are, and they're not going anywhere. I mean, they're not going to pick up the track and move it, but they are an important part of what makes this city go, the engine for our city.
Well said. Any comments on Churchill Downs? Not that we want to, not that they're a problem.
It's dear to my heart. I've lived near Churchill Downs for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Never been to the Derby, but I live 3 blocks away.
Oh, wow.
But it is an important...
It's your district, right?
No, it's right outside my district.
Okay.
But it's very important to the city. Like he was saying earlier, that it is the engine that runs the train. And it puts a lot of money into the city. It creates a lot of revenue.
Right,
yes.
right. Well, Mr. Producer, pull this up real quick. I found this urban doom loop image. I wanted just to explain it to people real quick. This is how it works. So you get quality. We'll start to the far left here. Quality of life, quality of urban life decreases as spending decreases. Quality of life decreases. And then you get a population loss. Then you get a decrease in city revenue. Then you get a reduction in spending, and then quality of life decreases. And then again, it goes more population loss, decrease in city revenue. So it's just a loop, a self-feeding loop. And urban, cities around the country are seeing that now. But that's not healthy for an area like this. Now what's happening is a lot of people are moving out of the urban core and moving into the exurbs and moving into the counties outside of, Bullitt County, Oldham County, Shelby County. And so those areas are booming. If you want to buy some property right now, go buy there because that's, the property values are increasing. But it's bad for the urban core, which is bad for business and then just the quality of life for the whole marketplace.
And I think that's what Nancy and I want to do is turn that around and make it an urban life loop instead of a doom loop.
I love it.
We've got places like Kentucky Kingdom, the Fair and Exposition Center, just areas that people from out of state should want to come in and visit, kick up our booming tourist events and things like that. We want to be a part of that. That's why we're running for Metro Council.
That's a campaign slogan right there. Let's create an urban life loop for Louisville. That is good. I love that. And
that's great.
That's well said. And we've got about a minute and a half left. You're still on the stump, so give us your last pitch here.
I'm running for Metro Council District 21 because I want to make Louisville a better city. Not only my district, but Louisville. This is a nonpartisan race. You can't vote straight ticket. You have to go to the Metro Council boxes and check off on the ballots. I'm number 3. Nancy Lynn's number 3. So I'm Lonnie Joe on the third row is who you want to vote for.
You got third row. I love it. Well, Lonnie, thank you for being here. Seriously, and we're just excited about this next election, so folks. We could save this city. We could turn it around because everybody knows the direction it's going, and so we can turn this around. and with candidates like Nancy and Lonnie. And so,
and I appreciate you both running, because it takes a lot of time. It takes your talent. It takes treasure. It takes friendships and people loving our city to do this. Thank you both so much. We're so proud of you. Godspeed to both of you. Metro Council 17, District, and 21. Vote for the third people. Nancy Lynn Walters and Lonnie Joseph.
There we go. Good stuff. And thanks for watching today. And God bless the Chuck Norris family. And we'll see you on Monday here at Kentucky's Voice.